To my surprise, we keep getting a ton of new TV spots and trailers with all kinds of insane imagery for Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, despite the final trailer having been released weeks ago. While the trailers appear to have explained the general outline of the plot, it would seem that there is still much of this film that we have generally no clue about. I say this wholeheartedly after having seen the latest teaser, which of course features the extremely bold imagery of Rexy the Tyrannosaurus staring down a full-grown lion and roaring aggressively at the insignificant mammal. This is the kind of stuff I have been seriously hoping that we would get in this film. This is it, guys. For anyone out there who's read Michael Crichton's original novels, I'm sure this is something that brings a big smile to their faces. At the very beginning of the original book, the dinosaurs had already left the island. They were roaming free and living out their lives away from the automation of Jurassic Park and deep within the dense jungles of Costa Rica. From the very inception of this story, we were shown a world that had been invaded by animals 65 million years out of date, and it looks like we're finally going to get to see it on the big screen. Granted, I'm fully aware of the Santiago incident that took place in the Lost World being a big deal, but that dinosaur only broke free and destroyed public property during the course of a single night. This time, it looks like all of the dinosaurs are going to be out in the wild, and I'm not so sure we're going to be able to wrangle them all up. Crichton's novel spoke heavily to the reader of the folly of man's attempt to control nature, and the entire story of Jurassic Park has always been rooted in a cautionary warning of what could go wrong. And it looks like the author's ideas of dinosaurs in the mainland, unshacked and free roaming, is something that will be explored within the contents of this new film. For years, the Jurassic Park franchise has been kind of shackled to the ground and left, ironically, in its own cage, where the warnings that Ian Malcolm foretold would come to pass during that lunch debate scene were never able to fully manifest themselves. Lost World understandably had to go back to another island. It worked effectively well with the world building and was an idea set up by Crichton himself, but there was really no excuse to not advance the plot further after that. Thankfully, it looks like the sequel to Jurassic World has no problem in doing it. Malcolm's warnings can even be heard through an ominous voiceover, foreshadowing what's to inevitably come. He starts by saying, "We resurrect the most lethal predators this planet has ever seen. We've taken things way too far. Genetic power has now been unleashed. We've entered a new era. Welcome to Jurassic World." And there is a clear sense of doom in his voice, and he even seems to be incredibly tired and clearly troubled by what he's saying. I can't express just how excited this little bit of footage made me. This is exactly the kind of sequel that I've always wanted. A dark and grim film depicting what Dr. Crichton penned in his original works. The full realization of this mathematical mess. To quote the book itself, "Flaws in the system will now become severe. System recovery may prove impossible." God, I can't wait to see this thing. Another small detail I noticed in this teaser happens to be the name of the boat that looks to be ferrying the dinosaurs off of Isla Nublar. If any of you are unaware, the name of the boat from the Lost World, the SS Venture, actually had a great deal of meaning in the second film. In fact, if you knew where it came from, it would be pretty easy to predict what was about to happen in Santiago. It's the same name of the ship that brought King Kong back to New York City back in 1933. That being said, the name Arcadia is quite interesting to me. While several vessels have held that particular name, the one that stands out happens to be the Arcadia that was in service from 1954 to 1979. This ship acted as a normal passenger liner to service the UK and Australia route, although at the end of its life, it operated as a Sydney cruise ship. That being said, a ton of weird occurrences happened on this boat. It ran into a ton of storms, capsized and flooded, and caused the deaths of 5 members of its crew back in the 50s. Later on, 2 members of the crew committed suicide by jumping overboard. It was also used as stock footage for a Perry Mason episode titled Nautical Knot. For those unaware, the show Perry Mason was about an LA criminal defense lawyer. Its main star happened to be none other than Raymond Burr, the lead actor in the Americanized version of Godzilla, King of the Monsters from 1956. All of this could be important, then again, all of it could be totally inconsequential. Guess we'll just have to wait and see when the movie comes out in a few short weeks. All in all, I'm pretty excited to see this thing. That image of the Rex roaring at the tiny lion really sent me overboard. I've wanted to see just how brutal these dinosaurs can be to modern animals forever. Thankfully, it looks like I'm going to get to see that. Now, at the end of the original novel, the animals moved far into the country eating a ton of agma beans, soy, and chickens. all foods rich in lysine. Now, I don't really know if these new animals will have to do that, seeing as the lysine contingency from the first movie was rendered kind of useless, but I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't at least get some form of explanation in how the animals will attempt to survive. Now, these are all just my thoughts and opinions on this new footage, and I'd love to hear what all of you think about it as well. What do you think is going to happen to the King of the Jungle now that he's face to face with the King of the Dinosaurs? Something tells me he's not going to have a good chance at winning. Now, before I go, I want to thank my game wardens, as well as all of my InGen executives. I'd also like to thank all of my park workers and InGen hunters as well, like Sean Sager. It means the world to me that you guys have continued to support this channel, and I'm really happy to have you all help me build this thing up and make it bigger and better each and every day. Now, I'd like to thank you all for watching this video, and hope that you all enjoyed today's content. If you feel like I deserve it, I'd appreciate the like and hope that you'll consider subscribing if you're interested in hearing from me again. I'll see you all in the next video, guys. And as always, take it easy.